Hi, I'm Samuel, and last week I did a book review on this book, which is called That If You Don't by Peter James. If you categorize that book based on what kind of book it is, it's a fiction book, obviously. And if you want to see my book review, you can actually go down and see that after this video, links in the description box or on top of this video. Now back to the topic. So I am a big fan of fiction because you can actually read it any given time of the day. You can read like early in the morning, you can read 30 minutes before you go to bed, like a light reading. Then you can read on the train, on your bus to work. You can read it basically any given time of the day. That's basically reading for joy rather than reading for passion. But the thing is, I haven't always been a big fan of fiction. Hey guys, it's me interrupting my own video. I got something cool to show you guys just before we go any further. We did it. 50 subscribers on YouTube. 8 months into the process. Thanks for the support. Thanks for watching my content, even though it's shitty. I'll do 50 subscribers special later in the week. Now, back to the video. You see, when I started reading books, I actually read books based on geography, history, social science, physics, chemistry, social skills. So that's about 9th grade, 10th grade when I started becoming an avid reader. I think every high school turned student who started just becoming an avid reader does the same thing as me. I don't think I'm the only one here. If you can relate, please comment down below. Moving on. So I never really had a feel for fiction. I never really actually bought any book of fiction. I just thought, how can we relate to these kind of things? But then again, 1 year after I started becoming an avid reader, a couple of years, I went to Thailand, and just before I came back, I went to this bookshop which is called Kinokuniya. And then I bought this book which is called That Man's Footsteps by Peter James. You see what I'm getting here, right? That's my very first ever fiction book. It was like love at first sight. The moment after you finish your first one, you move on to your second one, then your third, then your fourth. Moving on. A year later, my love for fiction still exists. And that is basically because when the writer is good, you get sucked into the story right from the word go. It's like the actions are happening right before your very eyes. Only problem, you can't control what's happening. You're just observing what's happening. Sort of like that. And so there's also this thing where people might say fiction book is just you read, no thought process, just read for pleasure. Actually, you can turn fiction into an active reading book. So before we get any started, I just want to explain between active reading and passive reading. Active reading is like where you get engaged into the book. You take a part in the book, the story, and stuff like that. And then passive reading is like you don't have to do anything. The writer's already done everything for you. You just have to go in there and read. So there are two types of reading, but you can turn passive into active. So fiction is meant to be passive, but you can turn fiction into an active. Here's a simple way that I do. In that story, there is this one moment when Kip Brown got kidnapped, as I said in the book review. So in that moment, you don't have to go 2 to 3 chapters ahead and see how Kip and Stacy Brown are feeling. You can just go into the shoes. Like, for example, I don't have any kids, so let's just get that straight for a moment. So, since I don't have any kids, I can just imagine how my brother or cousin got kidnapped. How would I feel about that? You can actually go into the shoes and feel about that. Then you can move on to the 3 chapters and see how they actually feel. That's an active process because you already kind of have a clue on how they would feel at the start because you already did an active kind of a thing. And that makes the story, if the story is 100% interesting, you put it up 20 more. That's how it goes. And then another thing here is there are some messages that you can take in a fiction book. In this story, there are 2 particular teenagers. One is Mungo Brown, son of Kip Brown. The other is Bruno, who is the son of Detective Superintendent Ray Grace. There are multiple statements which said those 2 have laptops and they game a lot. So the writer may not have implied it, but we can all have a sense that this is how we roll now. 21st century teenagers, except me, I suck at gaming apart from FIFA. I suck at gaming. So this is how we roll. I mean, games are no longer things that rot your brain. Instead, they have turned into things that communicate children from all around the globe, especially teenagers. Because this is online gaming, they're no longer things that rot your brain. It's acceptable. Games have become a profession rather than a hobby. And this is basically our life. But that is not what the reader actually implied. But these are some side messages that you can take within the story. And that is how you make fiction into an active reading process. And that is how you make fiction fun. I think that's all for today. That's all I want to say. I mean, there are some of my friends who actually judge me for reading fiction. I don't actually give two fucks about them, but what the hell can I do, right? They are entitled to their opinion, I'm entitled to my opinion. What is your opinion? Do you think fiction is just a piece of garbage, or do you actually rate fiction? Let me know through the comment section down below, and click subscribe, hit the little bell so that you don't miss future content, hit the like button as well, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, take care, mate.